Today we're answering 3 questions. What's the difference between pronunciation and accent? How can I improve my English pronunciation? My accent's horrible. Help. Okay, so it's 2 questions and a cry for help. But keep watching because I've got 2 answers and something that might just help if your accent is a bit bleh. We often use the terms pronunciation and accent interchangeably. But when it comes to learning a language, they actually mean different things. First, let's look at pronunciation. Pronunciation is about making sure that we say the words and phrases correctly so that others can understand us. And it's really important, absolutely something that you should be practicing, because you can watch as many videos as you like about 15 advanced words that mean your English is amazing, or how to say thank you in 10 different ways, and 5 grammar tips that make you a genius. But if nobody can understand you, then it's all pointless. Pronunciation's even something that they test on exams like the IELTS. Now, don't worry if you're not planning on taking any tests, doesn't matter. This basically gives us a description of what makes somebody a good English speaker. Here's the marking criteria. Look, we have fluency and coherence, lexical resource, that's vocabulary, grammatical range and accuracy, and pronunciation. So it's on the list. Now, just out of interest, what would somebody assessing your pronunciation be looking for? Let's take a look. So level 4, quite a low level, uses a limited range of pronunciation features, attempts to control features but lapses are frequent, mispronunciations are frequent and cause some difficulty to the listener. And at level 8, a really good score. I think most people learning English or taking the IELTS test will be really happy with a level 8. Uses a wide range of pronunciation features, sustains flexible use of features with only occasional lapses, is easy to understand throughout. L1 accent, that's first language accent, has minimal effect on intelligibility. You can see that both descriptions talk about pronunciation features. Level 4 has a limited range of features and lots of lapses when trying to control the features. That means lots of errors. Level 8 has a wide range of features and they can use them with only occasional lapses or errors. Level 4 also has frequent mispronunciation, as in incorrect pronunciation, which causes the listener difficulty in understanding. That's not good because we're all about communication, and if your pronunciation is that bad that somebody has difficulty understanding what you're trying to say, that's not good news. The advanced level 8 is easy to understand, and this is interesting. L1 accent, that's your first language, L1 is first language, has minimal effect on intelligibility. This is the first mention of accent, but you can see how it's related to, but different from pronunciation. See, you're still allowed to have a foreign accent as long as it doesn't impact how easy to understand you are. We'll talk more about accents later because it's an interesting topic and it gets some people very excited. But first, back to pronunciation. Pronunciation is something that you can be good or bad at. Your pronunciation can be accurate or it can be rubbish. But the good news is it's something you can learn and practice. The first ingredient of good pronunciation is the sound. Sounds obvious. You've got your vowel sounds like a, e, o, u, o, and many more. And you've got your consonants, p, ch, g, ps. Most of the time, sounds are simple enough, but now and again, English does like to complicate things. So you can get consonant clusters, that's lots of consonants all packed closely together, like the thr at the beginning of words like through or throughout, or at the end of words like risked or glimpsed. And the vowels can be tricky too. English has a lot of vowel sounds, like one of the worst languages, or one of the best if you really like vowels. Up to 20 vowel sounds in English compared to only 5 in Spanish. So when we get these very similar vowel sounds, they can be very difficult for English learners to even hear the difference, never mind try and pronounce the difference. We call words separated by only one vowel sound minimal pairs. Listen to the difference between these. Bit, beat. Ship, sheep. Full, fool. Bin, bean. Quick quiz, pick the correct option. Beat. This one, beat, not bit. Ship. This one, ship, not sheep. Fool. This one, fool, not full. Bean. This one, bean, not bin. Mrs. D is a Spanish speaker, and she always amazes me when we play this game on the long winter nights. She really struggles to hear the difference, and to me, I'm making them really obvious, and they sound completely different. Bin, bean, and she genuinely can't hear the difference. So getting the sounds right is key. But then we've got other features of pronunciation that also make a big difference. Syllable stress. This is where one part of the word is emphasized more than others. For example, in the word banana, we stress the second syllable, na, banana. The word pronunciation has 5 syllables. Where's the stress? Pronunciation. Duh, 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 duh. On the 4th syllable, we can't say pronunciation or pronunciation. It's not correct. It's pronunciation. So when you learn a new word, don't just learn the meaning. Think how many syllables and where's the stress. And there's more to think about because we don't use these words in isolation. So we don't just have to think about the stress within the word. We use words in phrases and sentences. So we have to think about the stress within the phrase. Another pronunciation feature. This gives English its rhythm. Look at this phrase. I never said she stole my money. There are 7 words, and you could actually say this phrase at least 7 different ways by stressing the different words, and you could actually change the meaning. Let me show you. I never said she stole my money, as in somebody else might have said it, but it wasn't me. I never said she stole my money. That is emphasizing that it's not something that I said. I never said she stole my money, but I might have thought it or implied it. I never said she stole my money. I just said somebody stole my money or somebody else stole my money. I never said she stole my money. That might mean she took it with permission or that she ended up with the money some other way. I never said she stole my money. That might mean that she stole somebody else's money. I never said she stole my money. That might mean that she stole something different, not the money. See how you can play with the meaning? Another feature of pronunciation is the intonation. A rising or falling intonation can help convey meaning. It can help us to indicate whether we are questioning or telling, whether we're certain or not sure, or whether we're starting or finishing our idea. So that's pronunciation. Now I've got some tips for pronunciation practice, but first let's talk about accent. Accent is more about the way you sound when you speak. Native speakers have accents, learners have accents. There's a massive variety depending on where you're from. Accents account for things like sound, intonation, rhythm, so lots of the ingredients of pronunciation. And it will include an influence from your native language if English isn't your first language. Everyone has an accent. I don't believe them to be inherently good or bad, but you might have a preference. I like the Geordie accent. I don't particularly like the Cockney accent. You might find some accents more difficult to understand. Some of the Scottish accents, for example, Glaswegian, I sometimes find a little bit hard to follow. All accents play with the features of pronunciation. The R in bath or the A in bath are different pronunciations because of the influence of the accent. The rules of pronunciation allow a certain level of flexibility for accents to introduce variation, and those become local conventions and can identify you as coming from a particular city, region, or even social class. Now, there was a big hoo-ha a while back about trying to learn a specific type of accent to sound intelligent. And there is a degree of accent prejudice, I would say, in both directions, up and down the class ladder, because whether we like it or not, our accents form part of our identity. But if I was learning English, I'd focus my efforts on pronunciation. If you want to call it accent softening, fine. But I'd be aiming for a stage where we reach that level 8 descriptor from before. Remember, L1 accent has minimal effect on intelligibility. If you're learning English, I'd be pretty happy with that. You might have a preference, American, British, Australian, whatever, or a particular teacher that you like. Subscribe. You might even enjoy trying to imitate your favourite accent. Fine, but don't dwell on that. Don't stress out and place too much importance on accent. If anything, the influence of your native language is what makes you unique when you speak English. It's your badge of honour and identifies that you've learned a foreign language. Pretty cool. And when you meet native speakers, that's what they'll think. They'll be impressed. Unless you're some kind of bilingual baby or weird language genius, you're not going to actually convince the native speakers that you're another native speaker. So embrace it. Love your accent. Pronunciation is more important than accent if your goal is to be understood clearly. And for most of us, that's the goal, right? So how do you practice pronunciation? Well, first of all, lots of listening, because if you don't know what it's supposed to sound like, how are you going to produce it? You can find detailed pronunciation guides or videos that tell you to put the tongue at the top of the mouth behind the top teeth and do this with your mouth. It's not for me, it's too analytical. I prefer to listen to the sounds and try and imitate them the best I can. My favourite is to get your phone and record yourself speaking, then listen back and see how you sound, because often you sound quite different in real life than how you think you sound in your head. It might be quite uncomfortable at first to listen back to, but you can listen to it and think, that sounded terrible, but then use it to improve. I think the main thing though is to be aware of these pronunciation features, the sounds, intonation, stress and rhythm of what we're saying. When you know about these features, you'll start to hear them when you listen to English speakers. I go into detail on these and other features of pronunciation in this video for you to watch next.